Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Friday, payday, December 9th slate of NBA action. Man, I'm super excited to dive into it. We actually have a pretty good slate of basketball today, so I'm super excited to sit down, be able to watch some games, be able to watch some good matchups that we do have. But before we go ahead and dive into the plays that I do like, I did just want to go ahead and say we are still currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to hit that by New Year. So by the time the new year does start, make sure that you guys are sub. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, before we dive into the recap as of yesterday, I did just want to go ahead and touch base with you guys and say, I am sorry about no video yesterday. I did record it, I did edit it, the whole 9 yards, and when I went to upload it, and I went off, basically what I have to do, excuse me, my Wi-Fi is really, really bad. It's like atrociously bad. And so what I have to do is I have to record the videos the night before. I have to upload them and schedule them for 7:30 in the morning the following day. So when I do that, I have to check to make sure that the videos are uploaded properly, stuff like that, make sure that there's no issues. So today was as of Thursday, excuse me. Thursday was my last final that I had to take for my classes. So once I got to my school or my university, I got there and opened up my computer to make sure that everything was looking okay. And it said that the file has been abandoned. Usually that means that something is turned off, but I got home and the computer was still on. So I really have no clue what happened, and I had to work right afterwards. So I do apologize about there not being a video. It was, definitely just a rough situation overall. I don't know really what happened, but for some reason it wouldn't let me. But without any further ado, let's dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. So we did end up having Jeremy Grant over 20.5 points here versus Denver, minus 120 as our kill shot play of the day. Jeremy Grant comes out hot, absolutely red hot, ends up dropping 12 points in just the first quarter alone, but finishes with just 18, unfortunately. Towards the end of the game, he still had like 16 shot attempts, I think it was, and he just couldn't really knock anything down in the second half. And if you were to tell me that he was for sure going to shoot 15 or 16 times, I'd take that bet once again for 3 units. I mean, that was just kind of a tough beat overall. But then we did have Nikola Jokic over 23.5 points versus the Blazers, and he ends up hitting this pretty easily. He ends up cashing it in the third quarter. Really didn't make us sweat too much for it. Comes out really hot, and I think he also had 12 points in the first quarter, if I remember correctly. But comes out really hot, ends up getting it done here for us. So our added play in that situation did end up working. Then we had our consensus play. We did have the Nuggets. The Nuggets -1. Technically, the Nuggets pushed in this one, so you ended up getting your money back if you took it early. Later on in the day, the line actually ended up moving. The Nuggets were underdogs at one point, and then the Nuggets were only half a point favorite. So there were so many different ways that it ended up going. But regardless, whether you want to count it as a win, whether you want to count it as a push, whatever you really want to count it as, our consensus plays have been red hot. We ended up losing the very first one that we did, and we haven't lost one since. So we have been red hot. Hopefully we can go ahead and continue this streak onto 7 positive days in the consensus plays. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. So for our first play of the day, our Kings kill shot play of the day, we are taking Kevin Durant over 27.5 points here versus the Hawks at -115 odds. Now I like this for a couple different reasons. The main reason being, Kevin Durant has a pretty dang good track record here versus the Atlanta Hawks. If you take a look at his last 4 games versus the Atlanta Hawks, he's had 55, 31, 32, and 32 in his last 4 games, and he has covered in 9 straight games versus Atlanta. Him and Trae Young usually have some really good battles whenever they do go against each other, and KD has covered in 9 straight games to this line. And I'll be honest, last time when I was talking about the Hawks and I was talking about their good defense at the power forward position, I guess I did forget to take into account that John Collins was out. I won't be making that mistake again because John Collins is out of this lineup, and we just saw Julius Randle have an absolute field day versus this Atlanta Hawks team. So I think that Kevin Durant is obviously much more skilled than than Julius Randle, and so I definitely think he can get it done here for us. And in the last 7 games, the Hawks have actually allowed the 12th most points per game to that power forward position. So I think it's a pretty good spot. And the Hawks, they're 11th in pace. So despite the Nets starting to slow things down when it comes to pace, Atlanta is really starting to pick them up. So I think it's a pretty good spot. And KD at home this year has been an absolute menace to society. He is averaging 31 points per game at home this year, and he's covered this line in 10 out of his 14 home games. I think that says plenty. I love this play. I'm going to go ahead and lock it in here for our first play of the day, our kill shot play of the day. KD over 27.5 points here versus the Hawks at minus 115 odds. Now for our second play of the day, we're taking Tobias Harris over 17.5 points here versus the Lakers at minus 105 odds. Now I like this for a couple different reasons because even with James Harden back into the lineup, Tobias Harris still dropped 27 points last game on only 15 shot attempts. So he's still getting right around that 15 to 16 shot attempts, like in that margin, and he's still able to hit this over. And in the last 7 games, the Lakers, they do allow the top 5 when it comes to points per game to the forwards position. So I think that it is a pretty good spot just in general. Lakers do allow the 6th most points per game in their last 3 games. So despite the Lakers who have actually started to win some games and like keep them competitive, one thing that they haven't really been doing a good job of is just playing defense. They've just been outscoring their opponents. And the Lakers, they're 5th in pace. That's a pace-up spot here for the very slow 76ers. Should get Tobias Harris a couple extra shots in there. Also, the Lakers, they're 11th worst defensive efficiency in their last 3 games. Like I said, hasn't really been a great defense. And let's be honest. Let's think about this from a basketball perspective, like a very knowledgeable, intellectual perspective. Joel Embiid is going to be the first defensive priority for the Lakers. They're going to want to try to shut him down. They're going to want to try to make other players beat him. And guess what? Harden is going to be second. Those are the 2 main guys that the Lakers are going to be focused on. It's going to leave a guy like Tobias Harris as that 3rd option, and they're going to basically say, well, we're going to take your best 2 guys out. Make us, beat us with your 3rd guy. And I think Tobias Harris is going to really step up in this one. I could even see him dropping 20. So if you wanted to place a little sprinkle on 20 points for like some pretty good value, I definitely think it's a pretty good spot. But I do like this play quite a bit. So that's going to be our second play of the day. Tobias Harris over 17.5 points versus the Lakers at minus 105 odds. Now, I will say that's it for official plays. The only reason being is just because I am waiting for a couple extra lines to pop up. I'm waiting for some injury news, stuff like that. So if you guys do want any added plays, make sure you guys do check out my Twitter. Make sure you guys do also make sure you do check out the pinned comment. But we do have our consensus play. So for our consensus play, we are going to be going to the Suns and the Pelicans game. The Pelicans are 1.5 point underdogs, and it's in New Orleans. So we do have, from left to right, we do have Brady. Brady is going to be taking the Pelicans. We also have Mitch. Mitch is also going to be taking the Pelicans. We have Ryan. Ryan's taking the Pelicans. And we have Seth. Seth's taking the Pelicans. And well, I got to ride with my guys. We're red hot here. So we are going to be taking the Pelicans plus 1.5 here at home versus a Suns team that has really been struggling here recently. I know that this line movement normally means that the Suns are going to win outright and probably by a decent margin, but I just can't really trust them right now. They got stomped by Boston in their first game back with Chris Paul, and I just don't love it. I feel like the Suns, they're kind of, Booker's doing so much of the work right now, and I just can't really trust them. So I think that the Pelicans really can get it done. They are missing Brandon Ingram, which is obviously a huge piece, and Herb Jones, but they've been really solid without him here recently too. So, I think Zion and CJ and Jonas Valanciunas can get it done here for us. So that is our consensus play of the day. The Pelicans plus 1.5 here versus the Suns at minus 110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit that by New Year's, so if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.